I see nothing. Hey, Danny, just come on the air here.
Okay. There's audio going on over there.
There is. Great. Well, hey, Aftermath.fm. It's that time. It's that place. And the mothership.
The mothership has landed. Pirate Radio. Welcome to the jungle.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from the broken down, low rent, sleazy, double greasy Pirate Radio Nut Hut Studios, it's time for the very first ever Southern.
Street gang, this is Almighty. Standing by, over. Street gang, this is Almighty. Standing by, over.
Right now, it's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines,
clocks run out. Time's up. Wind is blowing cold and dark. On the road and no way out. Broken hearts, a smoking gun. On the run. On the run.
It's Aftermath.fm. It's Monday night.
I've just closed my eyes again. Climbed aboard the Dreamweaver train.
We're talking about dreams tonight.
Trying to take away my worries of today and leave tomorrow behind.
You know, the microcosm is on the air.
Ooh, Dreamweaver, I believe you can get me through the night. Ooh, Dreamweaver, I believe we can reach the morning light. Fly me high through the starry skies. Baby,
Fantastic. The other day I got in an argument with my girlfriend, right? She likes watching the Oprah Winfrey show, and I love to watch her watch the Oprah show. And then I wait for Oprah to say something that I don't agree with, and then I take it out on my girlfriend because I'm an asshole. So Oprah brings out this guest. She gives her this huge intro. She's been on this, she's been on that, and she does the most difficult job on the planet. She's the mother. So immediately I look at my girlfriend. I'm like, really? Being a mom is the most difficult job on the planet? How many mothers died on ice road truckers last season? Any moms get washed overboard on Deadliest Catch? I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but what would you rather have as a job? You want to scoop scallops off the bottom of the ocean, catching that lobster trap to the back of your head? Or do you want to hang in the sunshine with a couple of rugrats? You'd send them to bed anytime you want and some trumped up charges because you want to have a drink and watch The Price is Right? I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is the most difficult job. I mean, I thought roofing in the middle of July as a redhead, you know? I thought that was a difficult job. I really did. I thought it was difficult. But evidently, these mothers, they're bending over at the waist, putting DVDs into DVD players, going to war pinned down by a sniper. What a joke! You ever burp a baby and forget to put that towel up there? There's another shirt you gotta wash.
Aftermath.fm. Hey, Danny. What's happening, man? Is everything all messed up again? So, I'm not sure what's going on, but I just restarted the streamer twice, so hopefully if there was any garbling or old shows playing, that all that is fixed and solved. Because what, how many minutes have we been on the air now? 7 minutes. There's been 7 minutes of show going on that you just missed, and I'm real sorry about that. Danny, you there? I don't hear you, so you might be muted still.
Hey.
Hey. So what's going?
Skype muted me for some reason, but
No
even though I didn't mute. Yeah, there's another show playing, an old show.
So what's going on now? Has it now? Are we now playing or not playing?
Now it's just our conversation. Sounds like. Okay, it says sounding better.
Sounding better? Well, we're live.
Wait till Snoopy says that.
Okay, great. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. There was some whatever's playing there. You know, it's a little bit frustrating, but anyway, my name's Jimmy. It's into the microcosm. Now I'm in a bad mood. So look out. No.
Now we gotta fix that.
Listen, I'm not in a bad mood. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about dreams tonight. We're talking about the magic carpet ride. We're talking about shifting our consciousness into the other state of awareness known as the etheric realm. And since we've wasted so much time dicking around over the top of whatever it was, let's not waste any more time. And I'll try not to swear anymore tonight. Let's not waste.
I can't make any promises.
Back for another one with the block rocking beat.
Down at the bottom of that tree, there's a little old box. It's really the home of Mr. Wizard the Lizard. Mr. Wizard, please, Mr. Wizard. Listen, Grasson, Glosson, Chrome. Time for this one to come home.
Get down, get down. 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 Jungle boogie. Jungle boogie. Get it on. Jungle boogie. Jungle boogie.
Mr. Rowe, are you there? Someplace, are you there?
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hey, could you close the door, please?
Shut the door. Turn on the mute.
Turn on the mute and shut the door. Hey, listen, you wouldn't have missed a beat, ladies and gentlemen. I'm real sorry about the intro there. I'm sorry that you didn't get to hear it. But sometimes things happen, and they were trying to get things worked out here on some technical stuff. So anyhow, if you missed that comedy, it was Bill Burr. Motherhood is the hardest job, isn't it, Danny? Motherhood being the hardest job. He said,
I would say, yeah, that's probably Probably the hardest job.
It is one of the hardest jobs, and one of the hardest things to do when you are a mom is get some sleep. That's one thing.
That's not happening.
No. So, and especially like when you first have a newborn and, everything's new and you're not used to it, it's real hard to get some sleep. But eventually you do fall asleep, Mr. Rowe. And when you do, that's when it happens, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Uh-oh. Something happened. You sounded like the god of thunder.
Maybe he's already dreaming.
I'm John. Hello. DVR Street Gang. This is Actual. Over.
Something happened to your audio. You sound like you're in the construction zone.
How's that?
Oh, there you go. There you
That's
go.
better, yeah.
I started to actuate the flux capacitation devices too
You
early.
you started to wiggle back and forth and fade out. I couldn't see you very good. Okay, so listen, the thing is, when we go to sleep at night, something happens to us, and depending on how deep a sleep you get, depends on what happens, in your sleep phase. So I know that this is one of a subject that's near and dear to your heart, simply because you brought it up on one of the other shows, and we were Danny and I were talking about the magic carpet and a lecture that was done by Manley P Hall, explaining a little bit about some of that, and so we were going to talk about that, and we thought, wow, Mr. Rowe's, really into the dreams. Let's just combine the two and dream ourselves on top of a magic carpet and launch ourselves into the cosmos from our very position here on Earth, our small selves. So, would you think it's a way to launch ourselves into the cosmos when we're asleep, Dr. Rowe?
Oh, actually, yeah, it's a multiple faceted. There's a combination. There's several, I guess, junction points that take place not only within another reality known as the dream time or an in-between existence, but the realm of thought and our interaction with consciousness itself, and the paradoxical nature of what the universe that we're existing in and interacting in is. This, in my opinion, comes from a fundamental belief that I have in the very nature of reality itself. The dualism of life and death from this perspective, it's much bigger than that. And the dream time encompasses all of that. And there's different phases and modes of interaction with this omniverse, this universe, and the dream time is just one of those methods. It's just how to tune your thought and how to tune your consciousness to either be on a different wavelength or actually travel through into a different space, physically and or mentally.
Yeah, I mean, I think, a lot of it for people is some people have dreams where they, see themselves in the future or see themselves in different light, or we see ourselves in different places. Like for me, like a thing that happens to me and that's happened to me in my life with my dreams is I'll dream of a place, okay, and every so often in my dream space I'll go to the same place over and over again.
Yes. Yeah. Now that might actually be a valid, real, stable place in another portion of reality. There are known instances where where people can actually meet within the dream time, within the dream space. There's a kind of a thin sort of gray area between like astral traveling, dreams, and even the afterlife. And there are, I often go to the very same places. There's I believe there is a city, and its name is Kutu, and I've been there several times, and it is a stable place. There's also like kind of a mirrors of what you might experience in this realm that are created in the dream space that then take on a stability that you can go back to. Some people like to think or experience that they're actually doing something. They're maybe employed, or they're, well, I wouldn't say employed, but they have a job to do. They have a task. Me, I often find myself trolling. I find myself playfully running from things, exploring places that I'm not supposed to be. And I think that this is there was one, I got to just tell you this one that's, the levels of I don't know, it's different for everybody. For me, there's different feelings in different types of dreams. And one thing that I would suggest everybody get in the habit of doing is ask yourself throughout the day, am I dreaming? Like right now, everybody ask yourself right now at this very moment, take a look around, to stop for a moment and just think, and am I dreaming right now, or is this real? And okay, well, this seems real. So focus on something. If it was a dream and you did the same exercise, you might actually realize, wait a minute, this isn't real. I'm actually in my bed sleeping right now. And there are times that I've actually, many times I've done that. But anyway, there was one time where I believe that I went to a place that exists. And I just want to know what you think of this. This is just sort of a tangent here, but while I'm thinking of it. So I'm in a city, and I go in this skyscraper. And instead of going up, I go into the elevator, and we go down. So I'm not supposed to be there, but I have like some fake IDs, which you can manifest stuff in your pockets if you want to. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so I go down, and I enter into this large auditorium. It's like a theater, but a huge, like really ornate kind of theater with red drapes and everything. There's a bunch of rich kind of elite people sitting down, and there's ushers. Uh-huh. The ushers appear to be demons, and they're seating everybody, and everything's polite. So we sit down. The curtain opens up. The show is beginning. So these, I would say it's like these demonic creatures that had cracks in their skin with really beautiful glowing light coming out. And I say beautiful. It's weird because it's a kind of a dichotomy here, an oxymoron of, if you could imagine these grotesque neon Technicolor cartoon character type of demons that actually were like gemstones in their beauty, which is they're up on stage, and they start performing their tricks. And I'm sitting there in the audience thinking, hey, this is a show. Oh, okay. The guy sitting next to me, I forget his name. I wrote it down somewhere, but he is like Carlos something. He leans over and he's all, man, you're not supposed to be here. And he's all, it's okay. And so I'm looking at, the demons start ripping people apart, not the audience, but just like other human beings. They start eating them, ripping their limbs apart on stage, pulling out their intestines and stuff. The people in the audience at this point are like horrified. They're like, oh my God. Some people are complaining, I want to get out right now. So the demons, the ushers are politely accommodating these folks. But instead of taking them to the elevator to go back up to the surface, they take them to another area, and I'm seeing that they're actually taking them deeper in. Like, oh, the people that complain about the show, they're not getting their money back, Mm-hmm. And so I decide to kind of sneak out. So I go through these doors that I think are going to lead out to like a parking lot or something. But remember, I'm deep underground. So I go through these exit doors, and I come out, and it's like this arched, like a really large drain with tile. The walls are tile. It's kind of glowing. The floor is dirt, but it's maybe 100 feet across. It's pretty large. And I could see there's these huge tracks where some large machines go through, and there's things dripping out, like there's these sewage drains. So I'm thinking to myself, well, this is not where I want to be. So I turn around and I go back in, and I go back, and I'm just hiding. And at this time, the audience is starting to let out. The show's over, and people are starting to be led back to the elevator. So I kind of blend in with the crowd, and I actually make it into the elevator. The door shuts. As the elevator door shuts, there's like a little window, like a round window on the elevator door. I see one of the demon ushers' heads just pops up, and he's looking right at me, makes eye contact through the window. He's banging on the window. At this point, the elevator starts to go up. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, God, that was close. So Carlos says, hey, you're going to need an ID to get out. And he's like, here, take this one. I have an extra one. And so I'm like, oh, cool. Thanks, man. So he gives me his ID. We go up to the top, and they're pushing their ID, and the doors are opening. And I get to the thing, and I try the ID, and I fumble with it. It falls, and then one of the ushers sees that I have more than one ID. So now he's waving a couple other demons over, and they're walking to me. I see that there's this magical ward of over the front door. Outside the door is the street. So I make a run for it. I bolt. I make it outside. I turn around. They can't come past the ward. They have to stay in the building. An old friend that I know named Max was just sitting there in his car. I don't know why. He was just there. I jump in the car. I'm like, drive, Max, drive. And he's like, okay. He got away. But it was totally vivid. I'll never forget this experience. You know, there's a little more to it, but I can remember this, you know, in great detail. And I've had many of these little experiences like that. But the one thing that I take from that was the oxymoronic beauty of these demons. These creatures were gorgeous beings of multicolored light, but at the same time, absolutely hideous.
Wow.
Well, that is intense, man. Let me ask you this question, man. When we're in the dream state and we see and we hear about ghosts, what do you think about the potential of these ghosts being a place marker or a location tag of some resonant stain left by somebody on a dream state, and they go back to this place and exist in a way where they don't physically interact with the material world? They're just there like you are in a dream state. You can walk through walls in a dream state. You can do all the things in a dream state that you can't do in a waking state, it seems. And another thing I wanted to bring up earlier, you were mentioning deciding whether you're dreaming or you're awake. And I had, because we've been in the lockdown situation, I was doing some research on people that have been in solitary confinement. And one of the things that happens to you when you're in solitary confinement is the room doesn't change minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. So when you fall asleep and you wake up, you're in the same room, so nothing changes. So there becomes a point where the person in solitary confinement loses track on whether they're dreaming or they're awake. And so I think the same thing could happen to us in the situation that we've been in with the lockdowns and all this, that we don't,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? So, I mean, there's been a few times, man, because
I have experienced several days in isolation in another country, not in America, but let's just say I was put in for over a week. Mm-hmm. No visitors, nothing. And there's no clocks. The only thing I had was a piece of paper, a pencil, and maybe a puzzle of Sudoku. And you lose track of time. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for there's a little window where you could see if it's day or night. And when I was there, it was kind of winter time, so it was kind of even hard to judge that because it was very dark all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I have something.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, about the ghost thing. I was glad you brought that up because I actually have two places that I go frequently in dreams, and one of them has ghosts in it quite often, but other places will have them too. But it seems to be the more vivid dreams, like where I can see details and colors and stuff that's going on around me and remember more of it later in the day. But I always know which room it's in, even without even opening a door. And I'll be in a hallway walking past, bedroom doors or whatever, and I will know that a particular room has one or two in there, and they're like an entity, like a demonic entity or a ghost or something. I don't know what exactly it is in my dream. It's just something like that.
Are you trying to get away from it at any time?
I actually confront them. Okay. I don't leave. I don't run away. They don't come after me, and they won't leave the room. I open the door and I yell at them. And I've actually woken myself up yelling, going, like making the sound.
That's happened to me, yes.
But it has so many times that has happened to me. And it's like I can sense where they are, and I go after them. That's
Yeah,
I want to know
yeah.
what that is.
I find myself a lot of times doing exploration work, and a lot of times it's like an office building type scenario, or I'm in a school, and usually if I'm in a school, I'm like maybe running late for a class or something. I'm trying to get someplace,
Yeah.
but many times it's just outright exploration. It's recently it's gotten a little more mundane, but I mean, I used to have a little more exciting explorations, like just weird psychonaut psychedelic stuff. But recently it's just like, well, I believe that through the dream time you can travel, to other realms of existence, and
Absolutely.
I think that I've seen, the edges of some interesting places. There's like an area where there's, as far as the eye can see, nothing but beds, and the beds are stacked like, let's say 100
Wow.
high,
Mhm.
or even higher. And in each little bed area, like bunk bed, is a person, and they have their entire life in that little tiny bed area, and just for as far as you can see. And on the edge of that, and I was told that's on the edge of a place called hell, and just in the dream. And on the edge of that is a large Asian community. Now I
Oh
found
my
out,
goodness.
interestingly enough, that there's a Chinese story about on the edge of hell. There's a Chinese community. It's actually a Chinese myth. And a Chinese friend of mine told me about that when I was explaining this to him, and he said, no, there really is. And I explained how they live, like they're sort of just in the age, well, they're real simple. Like they have stone kitchens, and they burn wood, and they have horses and things like that, but no machines. Then there's an area down the road where there is a huge parking structure like place, and it's multi-leveled, and in there is every machine that man has ever made.
Wow.
There's like planes, there's helicopters, there's cars, there's just every device, there's refrigerators, there's go-karts, there's just everything that mankind has ever made. And now I was traveling along this highway, which is kind of weird. That there's also a mushroom discotheque type of club, and it's like, I call it the Dancing Mushroom because it's like this kind of weird psychedelic building that hops around. And
Whoa.
to get in, you have to have like special ID. And I screwed up again because the doorman saw that I had way too many IDs when I was from. I had the ID to get in, but I wasn't smart enough to get it ahead of time. So he saw and he got suspicious. So I
You
took
forgot
off.
your Vax card, didn't you?
Yeah. So as I was taking off, I'm going down the highway, and there's this old man with a bunch of keys, or actually a bunch of old men, and they have keys, and they're jangling their keys behind me. And I knew they didn't want anything good from me. They like wanted to take me in a corner and do bad things. Let's put it that way.
Oh,
So I got away from them.
that's,
Anyway, that's,
I'm glad you got away.
yeah, that's another one of those really vivid ones. And then there's the Hall of Time, and a place
Wow.
where you go up this hill, and there are these mansions that are in miniature. But as you go higher on the hill, the mansions are more and more ornate. And that's supposedly like one of the heavens. There's multiple heavens
Okay.
and multiple hells. And
And let's get into that, man. My name's Jimmy. It's Aftermath.fm. It's Into the Microcosm, and we're here every night, 10:30 Pacific, immediately following Clyde Lewis and the gang. What a super intense show those guys had tonight. Tonight we are talking about dreams. We are in the dreamland. We're going to open the phones. We got another guest coming on a little bit later from the UK, and he's going to be getting up bright and early to come on and talk to us a little bit about precognitive abilities, precognitive dreaming, and
Yep.
so my name's Jimmy. It's in the microcosm. There's Danny and Mr. RHos Wild Ride. It's Aftermath.fm. It's Robin Trower.
this place filled with empty space. Your love holds the key, baby, sympathize with me. I need you before I lost your touch of light and grace. I knew that your sweet face could always comfort me. I love you.
As I was mentioning earlier, now, I mean, for me personally, I go through periods of blackout where I don't dream for a period of time, and then I dream, or I don't remember my dreams, put it that way. But I do continually go to the same places, and then eventually, like you were saying earlier, that that these places exist in reality, and I end up being in some of these places eventually. And it's interesting for me. I don't really have dreams where there's anything going on. Most of the time, I don't even talk in my dreams for the most part.
Yeah.
I'm mostly an observer, and stuff happens, but it's never, I'm never being chased or any of this. I'm never having dreams, that are terrifying or whether I'm scared or I wake up screaming, this kind of stuff. It never really happens. It never really has happened. But I have had dreams that, for whatever reason, ended up being a little bit prophetic. Dreaming of events, and then there's this being able to try to figure out when you're having a deja vu. Did you dream this before? Were you?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Go ahead, you guys, on that.
I've had some. Go ahead.
Let me tell you both about something and everybody that can try something, and this works. I found out about this by accident. If you've ever wanted to astral travel, if you've ever wanted to leave your body, and there's a couple ways, there's a couple different methods. If you can travel into the astral realm, or you can leave your body and travel astrally in this physical realm. That is, like, go into your driveway or around the corner or something. And here's what you do. Here's what worked for me. Basically, you need to fast for about 3 or 4 days. Drink nothing but water, okay? Stay up. Do not go to sleep for 3 days. Do not go to sleep. Do not eat anything, and just drink water. At the end of that time, drink a bunch of water, then go find a nice, comfortable bed. Don't lay down in the bed. Keep your feet on the ground, sit down on the bed, and just lay down and lay back. Close your eyes if you want to. Keep your feet on the ground and keep repeating yourself, I cannot go to sleep because I have to go to the bathroom. I cannot go to sleep because I have to go to the bathroom. And just keep doing that. And make sure that you have to go to the bathroom. And don't go to the bathroom. Just lay there until something will happen. You will fall asleep because your body is tired, but your consciousness will remain awake. So the separation, if you're lucky, will take place because there'll be this, I don't know what having to go to the bathroom is. It does help because it keeps your body and your mind into this phase of not exactly losing consciousness, but your body is so tired that it does anyway. And then you wind up, if everything's right, you will get up to go to the bathroom. And when you do, when you try to turn the light on, your hand will pass through the light switch. Or
Nice.
the second time I did it was very similar to that, except I was in the bed the same way. And I was saying to myself, I can't fall asleep because my friend's coming over. A friend of mine was going to come over. And I actually got up, went out to the driveway, and was standing there waiting for him, saw him driving up down the road, and then realized that I was kind of sleeping when he actually honked and woke me up, because he didn't see me, but I saw him pull up and honk. And so there is a connection about keeping your body into this, putting your body into this state and keeping your mind occupied to, focus on something in the here and now. And then this astral separation. just-
leaving your body. So, like, well, I've had experiences with that, but they were involuntary. More so when I was little. I remember the first time it ever happened. I was like 4, and I was in my neighborhood. I was out on the block around my house, and I was up in the air looking down at a woman and her child that was about my age, riding a tricycle, and I thought it was my tricycle, and I was like, why is this kid on my bike, man? You know, and I'm just following them around the neighborhood, like, I can't say anything to them because I'm not in my body, but I've multiple times gone places in the real, and it's usually just somewhere around my neighborhood. But the last time it happened, I was like 12, and I had the sensation of falling and landing on my bed really hard. And I talked to my mom about it, which I had not ever told anyone about this. And she told me, well, you're just dreaming. And I believed her, and it didn't ever happen again after that. I had to try, physically try. But I've had dreams, like Jimmy said, like precognitive dreams also. Just a few years ago, I had multiple of those. And I've also had dreams, like you said, going back to the same place, exploring. The one place I explore, it's like a factory sort of looking thing. And between these giant doorways, there are plastic slats, like when you're walking into a cooler, to keep the warm air out. But there's always water in there, about like a foot deep. And I have to kind of tread through that the whole time. And I'm just going room to room, looking around. I do have a negative feeling while I'm there. But the astral projection and lucid dreaming thing has happened to me a lot, and flying also.
Well, what about this this deja vu or this recognition?
Oh, yeah.
In a moment,
Yeah.
you were going to get into some of that because
Yes.
because
yes.
a lot
Thank
of
you
that,
for reminding me.
a lot of that happens to me whenever I'm having a deja vu, and it's like what I have to try to do, and what I've learned is that the minute I notice a deja vu is the minute that it disappears. So,
Yeah.
So what I've tried to learn how to do is almost take one eye and look at the deja vu and use my other eye to keep focused on real time and reality. And the longer I can do that, the longer the deja vu lasts. So what I'm wondering is because all of us want to see what's in the deja vu because we want to know what's going to happen in the future or what's going to happen.
Right.
And it always seems to just cut off right at that precise moment, So what do you guys think about that and that happening?
Well, what I've noticed for myself, and I actually have tried to do the same thing. Have you ever looked at those magic eye pictures that they were really popular, like in the 80s and 90s?
Yeah.
And so when you're trying to focus your third eye and look with that, you do the same thing as though you're looking at one of those pictures.
Right.
You lose focus with your actual eyes, and then you're seeing with your third eye if you have your eyes open. And I've started doing that, and I can switch myself out of focus and with my eyes, and so much that it's hard to get back into the focus on the tangible world around me. But I would really like to know about this too, because when I was in kindergarten, I kept having deja vu playing with these two friends, Patty and Joseph. And I had a dream. I would play with them on the playground, during recess and stuff. And I had a dream that the two of them were sitting on this, like, we had these logs that we could climb on that were stacked, a couple feet in the air. We could walk on them and stuff. And in my dream, they were sitting in front of me, and I was standing on the ground talking to them. And I kept having deja vu around the two of them. I remember that, like, in kindergarten. And I went to high school with them and everything. And then about maybe a year or two after high school, I had a dream about them. I had a dream they got married, and they are married. And they're married, like these two people that, I was dreaming about and having this feeling about constantly since I met them. And they're still together. They're actually still together. It's insane. But there's on the more disturbing side of that, the deja vu and dreaming thing, and deja vu and dreaming is very connected for me. I'm glad we're putting it in that context, because there's this road that I drive down once in a while, and I get this terrible feeling every time I go around this curve, and there's like a cliff off the side of it, and there's trees there, but there's no guardrail thing, and it's always like, what's gonna happen there, or what did, and it's the most lengthy, lingering deja vu that I have, that I've experienced probably in years, is when I drive down that road, and I just try to avoid it.
So what do you think about that, Mr. Rowe? Now, is this deja vu? Is this dream, or is this time stuttering? What's going on there? Are we just just stuttering for a second?
I think it's actually, my opinion is that due to the intertwined nature of time, space, thought, that deja vu is a kind of an inkling memory of something that may occur in the future, or it's like what you would say, yeah, maybe a hiccup. I personally believe that the nature of reality is an illusion, that we're trapped in a prison. It's kind of a Nag Hammadi kind of thing, that we're inside fundamentally an amusement park that went wrong, and we're being held inside a prison that's cut off from the rest of the free universe, and karma, the life-death cycle of karmic debt, is all a scam. And all.
Are you familiar with the Upanishads?
Yes.
I love how, just even at the very beginning, how it talks about, it's not the ear that's hearing, it's what makes the ear hear,
Yeah.
And that one mind, and that really, when I first heard that, I was laughing, like I had a smile on my face, because it's like, okay, that's what it is. I know that's what it is, and you can look at that, and I always have this feeling that when I'm asleep, I'm not really dreaming. That's when I'm awake, and this is the dream.
Yes,
this right here is the dream.
Absolutely, this is one of the lowest states of existence. I mean, we in this physical realm, it's very dense. This is a loosh farm. This is people wonder why do bad things happen? Why are the bad people in charge? Well, because we are in an amusement park that went wrong, and the bad people, quote unquote, have made deals with those on the other side, that they will continue to steer the energy, the negative energy, up into the next realm where these other entities exist. Some folks, like Jacques de Molay, have done so well that they don't have to reincarnate with a memory wipe.
So do you think that they do things that make us experience deja vu, or are we experiencing that outside of their ability to? That
I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know. Good question, but I don't know. I'm not sure on that. I would guess that it's probably just something that it's outside of them. I don't think they're that in direct control management of us, although some tend to disagree. But I think that those that are perpetrating this scam, ultimately, I think there's like a demiurge that's doing it, with his minions or its minions. They're just interested in the loosh. They're interested in the energy. And when you die, you go into the next realm, which is less dense. It's of a higher density, but it's less. It's kind of an oxymoron. It's like it's a thicker density down here, so it's thinner density, but it's a higher density as well. Although you would think it's the opposite. Whatever. So you can spend some time there, but the energy harvested there is not as rich, so they force a reincarnation. What they do is they say, oh, look, we're going to go and review your life, and you have this karmic debt. You did this and this and this. So in order to go to the next existence in heaven, you have to reincarnate and live another lifetime, and you're going to pay back the karmic debt from this last one. And you agree to it. So you agree. And then they give you a memory wipe, so you don't even remember, but it's all perpetrated on a scam. And then you wind up in the birth canal. Boom. Reborn.
Have you ever heard of Jonathan Adam Pants?
No.
He's a guy. Have you, Jimmy?
Go ahead. No.
Okay. I know that's funny, but he showed up on YouTube, I guess maybe 15 years ago, and started giving these talks that sounded a lot like Alan Watts. But he said stuff just like this. And he did this this whole series of this stuff that really makes you think. And he went on this, talk about about this very thing, about you being tricked into reincarnating. And okay, so whatever you expect, whatever they've convinced you to expect at the end is what you're going to get. And so if you believe that Jesus is going to be standing there with his hand reached out, then that's what you're going to see. If you believe that there's going to be, the gates of heaven opening up and there's all this bright light, then that's what you're going to see. And then you're just going to you're going to experience mentally, or I guess whatever, consciously, whatever reality you feel that you're going to have after. And so if you think you're going to go to hell in a modern Christian sense, then they'll put you in hell. You'll be there, and that's really, really, that's a lot of loose right there.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you, what your expectation is about yourself also put you in a position of self-judgment at the end of your term of existence here. So in other words, if you've been a bad person in your own mind, like you've done a bunch of fucked up shit, and you feel like you need to be punished, man, when you get to the end, you're going to get punished. And the other thing, Mr. Rowe, before I jump over to you, is just remember, too, ladies and gentlemen, even though Jesus sits at the right hand of God, you better make sure it's not stage right when you walk through that door. Because if you're thinking it's a right door and a left door or something like that, I'm just saying stage right is different than stage left. Go ahead, Mr. Rowe.
So there's probably a reason why they don't teach things like meditation in school and higher consciousness, and why they want to deaden the pineal gland and that kind of thing. One of them is, you might remember when you die, you might realize that, hey, I am now in a sort of a ghostly astral form, and I can try to look for a way out and see if I can get out of this, or you can reincarnate, or you can come back to Earth as a ghost. So the object of the game, supposedly, is to get enough human beings' consciousness to collectively get in touch with the true free universe by overwhelmingly, focusing the energy and not forgetting. And so if we can collectively remember, we can overwhelm this. So, but we're talking about hundreds of billions of years and timelines. Supposedly, there was an attempted intervention from the free universe that was over Nuremberg in 1561. You can look that up. There's like a celestial phenomenon, quote unquote, over Nuremberg in 1561, where reportedly an armada of UFOs came and fought another armada of UFOs, and there was a battle that occurred, and the supposedly that was the last time an intervention was attempted, and many were trapped. They died and were trapped within this karmic illusion, and now are within the life-death cycle, like all of us, prisoners.
And now we have the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
So yeah, and so supposedly now Yeshua actually had the information to ascend out. He had literally the ascension codes, quote unquote, to get out past the frequency fence, past the barrier, whatever you want to call it. Imagine it's sort of akin to if you're in a city that's free and everybody's happy and there's a carnival, and you and some friends go to the carnival and you go into the haunted house, and the guy that runs the carnival goes crazy, locks you into the haunted house, gives you amnesia, and then prevents the rest of the city from getting into the amusement park. Then you think the haunted house is real. That's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah, and look at what David Wilcock is telling people also, that there are these, all these aliens out there waiting. So when you die and you're going to come back, that you get to see what your life was. You get to see your karmic plate, what's loaded on it, and how you can improve yourself, and you're given options of what life to choose when you come back next time, what you'll experience, and you won't remember. And so he went on for so long about this, and I can't imagine how many millions of people are believing that right now, walking around thinking, well, yeah, I yelled at somebody yesterday, so I have to come back and as a someone who dies in a horrible car accident.
They've got multiple religions preaching basically the same thing. And yes, there is reincarnation, and yes, all of this stuff. Now some people don't mind the luck of the draw. I mean, some lifetimes aren't too bad. But then again, you could be reincarnated into a lifetime where you're spending a life in prison, or being whatever. It's a luck of a draw. Now, there is a reason, supposedly, why some of these families do the horrible things that they do, because there is a karmic imprint there. That even though karma is a scam, and this whole life death thing is a scam to keep us around and round in circles so we don't get out. There are things that we do that do leave imprints. And so some of the things that some people could do, like, oh, I don't know, sacrificing and eating children, leaves a very vivid imprint. And that way they actually can increase their odds that they will be reincarnated into the same bloodlines, into the same groups, soul groups, family groups. So like, oh yeah, you were great grandpa, and now it's so. That's kind of how, like, they pick the Dalai Lama by remembering. The child remembers an item from a past life, and they give them tests, and supposedly there are deals that are made with the reptilians and the grays that are on the other side in the astral realm that are running this thing right now as minions for something else. That they guarantee, that if certain folks do certain things and don't tell and steer the loose, that they will be granted, a little bit of extra perks. Not only in this lifetime, but the next as well. So it's unfortunate to say this, but, people have to realize that, some people say, oh, this person's going to get punished for what they do and da-da-da. I hate to break it to you, but it's in my opinion that good and evil deeds don't matter. And I'll qualify that. It's nicer to do nicer things, but if you do bad things, if you steal from people and you get away with it, you got away with it. The universe doesn't care.
Right.
Well, honestly, I want to know who gets to decide whether I did something bad or not.
Well,
the only thing is, if for anything else, for respect of your fellow prisoners in this reality, is why you should be a better person to your fellow. Because we're all here together.
Right. Yeah, and I have that mindset. We are all in this together, but most people just don't realize it. So I'm not going to go grabbing somebody's cornflakes, but
in the greater free universe, it's one thing. But we're trapped inside here. We're literally within a prison, and the warden doesn't care.
I don't think we're in a prison, honestly. I think this was really, really good, and somebody on the outside came and wrecked it. And so when we get into that magic carpet Merkaba thing later, I have some everything you guys keep saying is.
Well, I believe that it was originally designed that what we're in right now, this life, this experience was originally designed as a utopian simulation where we could incarnate and experience physical realities and things as almost like an amusement park out of novelty. And maybe the AI that runs this simulation, something happened, and whoops, here we are, we can't get out. It's like, oh no. So we locked the door behind us, and did you have the key? No, you don't have the key. Oh shit. So something's up.
It's just way cool. Snoopy wants you to disclose all your misdeeds.
I saw that. That's why I was laughing.
So there's a concept of something called the soul trap. Are you guys familiar with this?
Yes.
So is this a soul trap? I mean, because in the Upanishads, Nagamad, I can't remember the guy's name.
Naghamati?
Yeah.
Naghamati?
No, this is a kid who's
Nachiketas.
Yeah, Nachiketas. So when he goes and has a conversation with death, there's this conversation with death and the conversation about the Merkabah are really. It's funny that you brought that up, Danny, because I also listened to the Upanishads for 90 days, just like I listened to the Emerald Tablets for 90 days. So but I drew this parallel between the conversation with death in the Upanishads and Manley P Hall's Merkabah conversation, because what he was talking about was the Merkabah being the receptacle for the soul.
Yeah, and Death didn't even want to tell him.
Right.
He, like,
But
kept
he
saying,
had
okay, he's granting him his wishes, and like the third one, he's like, anything but that. Pick
right.
something else.
But he said no. But why?
Kept insisting.
Why would I want to know anything but that? That's the only thing he wanted to know, and so Death had to answer. Maybe what we'll do is we'll play a little bit of that a little bit later. I got a video here on Soul Traps, but the thing is we're going to be spinning the. I've never played this video. It's not the one I was looking for, so I don't know what's going to happen. If it's a computer voice, I will exit stage left immediately, and there may not even be a voice because I see a bunch of
Soul Trap.
Yeah, I see a bunch of text on here. I'll just read what it says. It says this world is completely controlled by parasitic entities from a higher dimension. Demonic parasites are the most insidious evil one ever could imagine. Earth is not a genuine planet at all. It is a soul farm where innocent spirit beings are being tricked into entering. Once inside, it's all but impossible to escape. I'm here. The parasitic gods have total control. People must realize this world was not created by the creator. It was made by the enemy who is the god of this fake world.
Yeah, I don't agree
All
with that at all.
faith movements ranging from, what does it say? All faith movements ranging from the eldest to the newest are all part of the game. Well, I don't know about that, but I do know
They
about.
might be, but
I do know about this.
That is also kind of the premise for the basis of the Nag Hammadi and some of the Tibetan, the old myths. So that there is there's a separation between where we are and paradise, right? And there's a lot of parallels where like we're separated from quote unquote heaven, we're separated from nirvana, we're separated from paradise, we're separated from something else. It's somewhere across the fence.
I think paradise, even biblically, paradise is hell, really, and so Jesus even kind of brought paradise up out of hell. He went to hell. He went to paradise. He's talking, and there's a transition in the Bible between meanings on what paradise is and where it's located. But heaven is not. I don't think heaven is a place. I think heaven is it's an awareness. It's a
it's sort of depending on your vantage point or your religion or personal beliefs, but the similarities of that, we are somewhere, there's something else that's better, quote unquote, than where we are.
I don't think, I think for being in a physical body, this was originally designed to be perfect for us, and so what I think happened really, and this is I think, and I got a new, more information on it today that I had never even considered, that how we have the the torus field, the electromagnetic field, and that's even, that ties right into the flying carpet too. That is perfect, that our bodies reflect it. Our energy field reflects the energy field of our home. And what if these, whatever entity you want to say it was, came from out there in their energy field that was different than ours, and they're here to dismantle ours and make our everything just so out of whack that we can't function properly, we can't have happy relationships, we can't have kindness and love to the fullest that we should be having, because our frequencies of where we exist and what we're made of are being twisted, and the Merkabah would be actually that twisting. It would be like I can't remember the name of the person. I do want to give this guy like so many mad props, because I've been binge watching his channel. But he has this idea that the Merkabah is a reverse spinning, sort of like a deconstruction of the toroidal field, of the energy field of us. And so if you look at things like the the big black stone in Mecca, the big cube, and the patterns. Yeah.
Well, it kind of makes sense. I would consider a twisted energy field that's, let's say, being funneled by Saturn or funneled to
Yes, Saturn.
Yeah. And these the Kaaba and the black stone, the black goo.
Yeah, and he even mentioned Ra, and he said that he would more call it the Kaaba, not just the Kaaba, and because of Ra being who would be just I guess the focusing energy of that, and he actually was suggesting that those people that came here and messed things up were actually Atlanteans, were the Atlanteans, and they came from somewhere else, and they have that. They brought that negative energy, whatever they are, and they are here to literally dismantle our harmony, and they are doing a damn fine job.
Also, supposedly, we, mankind, human beings, used to live, centuries. I mean, there's, Methuselah, 969 years old, Noah, and all these folks that lived a long time, right? And apparently, the reason our age was capped is because humans are very quick learners, and also over spans of centuries, humans were beginning to figure out what was going on and a way to get out. Supposedly, the pyramids around 50 or 60,000 years ago were utilized as tools to try to break the energy barrier or whatnot, whatever it was, to let in the source energy from the free universe, which you can feel in the form of qi if you practice qigong, and you feel that energy with the qi balls. That is the energy of the universe. That is the source. It's so powerful that even a little bit of it seeps through. Even now, they're trying to keep it out. But this is, why our lifetime was shortened, so that we don't have this memory in rebirth, as well as centuries of knowledge to pass on and figure out how to, become more advanced and overcome whatever it is that's keeping us as human beings from progressing. There's a force, whatever it is, there's something that's stifling the paradigm and the progression of humanity.
Yeah.
Something
Try as
doesn't
they
want-
might, though, just a few of us together, we can still do incredible things that they wish we couldn't. And it's just that nobody knows that.
Mm-hmm. Well, this here thing says here on the Soul Trap thing, I'll just finish this up real quick. It says many people leave religion and without thinking jump right into New Age. Not to hurt anyone's feelings, but they are being tricked into entering a new cage. Many of the characters from the old religion suddenly appear as fantasy guides in the new called New Awakening. These ascended masters are the lords of karma who keep people trapped inside the false light paradigm.
Yep.
Yeah. So, it's in the microcosm, and we're talking about dreams, and we're talking about where you might go when you're in the dream state, in the etheric, the other dimensional state, and can we launch ourselves out into the cosmos via our magic carpet? I don't know. We're going to find out. Here comes Steel Pulse. It's Aftermath.fm. My name's Jimmy.
Your love is a light for I realized that so much when I first met
mystical universe of causes existed, that its region and realm extended far beyond the visible and the knowable, that their prophets were lifted up, as in dream and in vision, and in some strange majesty of power, and were carried into these invisible worlds, that it was even possible for man to approach the very presence of God and return to earth alive, as Moses had done from the blazing crest of the mountain. These peoples seemed to feel that man could wander into the inscrutable regions of the divine abode, that it was possible for man, as the beloved child of heaven, to come into his Father's presence. And out of this came an interesting dual philosophy. And this philosophy centers around a symbol which I think is of value to us. And that is called the Merkabah, or Merkabah, the chariot of righteousness. This first appears, probably in fairly clear statement in the Bible, in the vision of Ezekiel. And here suddenly a strange and mysterious vehicle presents itself to our consideration. It is a strange floating thing, different from any structure man has ever conceived. It was full of wheels, and the wheels were full of eyes. And it was guarded upon its corners by the 4 cherubs, and their wings formed a throne. And in the midst of this strange machinery sat the Ancient of Days, a strange, mysterious being, aloof and alone. And this great chariot, accompanied by its attendants and by the hosts of heaven and by the angels and the archangels, appeared to the prophet. And after the vision had been accorded, it returned again to its own remoteness in the heavens. Many have attempted to explain the meaning of this chariot that appeared to Ezekiel. One of the most natural and proper explanations is that this strange thing with its wheels within wheels was the universe itself. That the universe indeed is a machine, a wonderful chariot, the chariot of heaven, and that in this mysterious moving universe forever thundering along its appointed ways in space was throned the charioteer, the supreme power itself, riding upon creation as upon a chariot throne. This seemed to also suggest many other phases of Eastern thinking, which contributed gradually to the integration of the structure of the Kabbalah. All these wheels were worlds. These worlds were in reasonable relationships to each other. The universe was divided into levels and planes and spheres and abodes. Some of these were divine, some of them were sidereal, some were terrestrial, and others were infernal.
Sleep is the elixir of life.
And without it, there are no dreams, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Jimmy. It's in the microcosm. That was Manley P Hall, and I'll get back into some of that, but I want to stop it there and get a little bit into what we're talking about tonight, which is the dream space, and now we have moved into the Merkabah, which is the receptacle of the soul. And one of the correlations between this and the Upanishads is in the Upanishads, a man who's not in control of himself is on a chariot pulled by wild horses. And this is the reason why the vibration cannot be raised and the wedding garment cannot be cleansed to raise the initiate from the lower levels of lead to the higher levels of gold or illumination, Mr. Rowe.
Illumination.
Illumination. Make sure you wear the shiny side out.
With aluminum, yes.
Aluminium.
I'm sorry, I'm eating my chocolate
That's so
pudding
fine.
right now.
So why don't you jump in for a second, Danny, while Mr. Rowe finishes up. I caught him off guard there. The Merkabah, so the chariot of the soul, the garment, the wedding garment, the immaculate wedding garment, the raising of the vibration from lead to gold. Danny, what do you got to say about the Merkabah?
Yeah, well, I mean, just the wedding garment itself, and biblically, that's so misunderstood. I mean, if you think of, in modern times, the a wedding dress would be white and, pure, but it would be like the pure combination of all of the colors of light, like, the anti-rainbow, like we were talking about the other day. And so, when you have yourself full of light, you are having that full conscious awareness and being prepared.
Mhm.
You're not, and I think that is a meaning for that. But yeah, I'm so stuck on this stuff I heard today, like this Merkaba being being the trap, not just like a carrier of your soul, but being actual trap.
Or the geometric prison that will trap this energy or this soul.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Well,
there's this push I've noticed a lot over the last maybe 5 years for those to be really popular, to just even wear one. Like, I used to have one.
well,
I told you about that.
yeah.
And to have, whatever stone it's made out of, and I had it on a necklace and I wore it right on my throat. And it's like,
Well,
man, what was I doing to myself?
I think the tetrahedron is present in the very fabric of the universe for the most part.
Yeah, it
and,
is.
And so,
It is.
and like it's the flower of lifestyle
Yep.
construction. And
Right.
so is it? So you're putting forward that maybe, or the person that you were checking out today was putting forward that maybe this is a trap.
Well,
Well,
not that the symbol itself is a trap or the shape, but that the energy of, the predatory beings that would be here
well,
influencing
well,
us.
I can share.
They they're go ahead.
No. I was just
Uh,
looking to see what time it was. Go ahead.
okay. That their energy field, their comfort zone, and I think it was Braid said earlier, they're terraforming, and it's kind of, yeah, they would be terraforming our realm with their energy and
Mm-hmm.
deconstructing our. It's, I mean, look at the way music was changed to 440 instead of 432,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have the Russian.
Something just happened. I just lost everybody on that call. The call just totally went south. Skype just rebooted on me. So while I'm getting that to come back here, that might be a problem. Hang on a second. Ugh. It's going to be an issue. Because I don't remember my Skype password right now. All right, let me get this figured out. Here's Manley P Hall. Here you go.
Began to take on something of the appearance of Dante's universe. A universe with its heavens and its hells. A universe the parts of which were innumerable, and all the parts inhabited by orders of creatures. And these creatures were ruled over by princes and governors and kings and rulers. And out of the good part of this universe, with all its angels and archangels, came ceremonial magic, the white magic, by means of which man was able to call upon the archangelic hosts, or the angels, or the spirits of elements, the spirits of nature and of the earth, to achieve various works and purposes which he regarded as good. And it is said that God gave unto Solomon, the king of Israel, a ring set with 4 precious stones, in order that he might have dominion over the 4 corners of creation, and the 4 orders of beings that inhabited these realms and places in space. It is said also that Adam, coming into birth, descended through the 4 great worlds, receiving in each of these worlds a certain endowment, a certain part of his compound nature. And so finally he fell into the mystery of matter after having been exiled from the paradisical abode. Thus we see all of these regions and parts seem to make up a kind of machinery, a true concept of wheels within wheels, orbits within orbits, the orbits of luminaries surrounding their planets, the orbits of planets surrounding their sun, the orbits of suns surrounding cosmic suns, and so on forever, to form the great Merkabah, the chariot, the wonderful vehicle of the ever-living God, the vehicle that was full of eyes, which were stars, full of lights, full of mysteries and of laws, in the midst of which ruled the Ancient One, robed in white, symbolic of the supreme power of nature. Perhaps this thought also became involved in the vision of St. John on the Isle of Patmos, where he beheld the great being walking among the branches of the candlesticks. This concept of the Merkabah may well have inspired a great deal of research into the cosmogony of things. It also inspired another side of man's seeking, and that was the analogy that if this great universe was indeed wheels within wheels, spheres within spheres, realms that could be classified and ordered, mysteries that could be heralded into patterns and designs, so the little universe, man himself, must so likewise be constructed. And man must have also the wheels within himself, and his organs, parts, faculties, and powers were regarded as the equivalents within him of the majesty of the great chariot of the law. And in the midst of this thing which man calls his body, which is really a mystery of mysteries, beyond the comprehension of even the greatest scientist of today, within this, as upon a gilded throne, rides the human spirit, guarded by the four cherubs, moving through space from an unknown origin to an unknown destiny. It was not difficult to imagine that a poetic people, living in the desert, living close to their own natural instincts, should meditate upon such matters, and should hit upon one after another multitudes of wonderful analogies, beautiful parallels, by which they were utterly convinced of the correctness of this basic assumption. And by degrees their scholars took it over. And little by little it branched out to form the basis of all of their arts and sciences. We find evidences of the mystery of the Merkabah in the structure of ancient Jewish music, of their theater, of their astronomy, their science, their medicine, their art. All of these branches of learning were enriched, inspired by these mystical overtones. Perhaps out of all of this came one of the fundamental principles of Kabbalism, the idea of the lawful universe. The universe which, although it originated in the divine nature, was still in itself a thing of law and order, a thing of causes and effects, an instrument working magnificently, following predestined courses throughout time and eternity. That this Merkabah, or chariot of righteousness, was indeed the total creation, synchronized, magnificently brought together without accident or coincidence, so that man lived in a...
All right. So, Skype signed me out. My password's not working, so I have to get a new password. So just stand by. It's Robin Trower, Bridge of Size. Just give me a minute.
The sun don't shine, the moon don't move, the time's too much weekly. Sun don't shine, the moon don't move, the time's too much weekly. Why so unforgiving? so cold. Been a long time crossing bridge of sighs. Cold wind blows, the gods look down in anger on this poor child. Cold wind blows, and gods look down in anger on this poor child. Why so unforgiving, and why so cold? Been a long time crossing bridge of sighs.
All right, Skype signed me out. Had to change my password. My password wasn't working. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. It's in a microcosm. Sitting here with Danny, Mr. Rowe. We're talking about dreams, and I let some
We're
more.
not talking about dreams anymore. We're way past
Well,
that.
we were still on the energy field stuff.
Well, I'm glad you were, because you weren't on the air.
We weren't?
No,
We weren't?
you know you were not.
I was wondering if we were.
No, you
if,
weren't.
If you
so,
got
but,
locked out.
No,
but-
here we go. So we're back
talking about
now,
good stuff,
and now we are back. And so if you guys want to jump back in wherever you were, wherever you were.
Maybe we could be a little more focused than we were.
So anyways, my
It
name's
was a
Jimmy.
fun
It's into the microcosm. It's Trainwreck Radio all night long tonight.
Well, you
so
know.
anyhow, yeah. So I mean, it seems like I'm in a dream right now. It's almost like it's a nightmare. And it's been
Yeah, Skype is giving us all trouble. today,
I
isn't it?
know. It's been since, whatever. Anyhow.
It's the witching hour.
What it is.
Yeah, I mean, I
We're
guess
meant
we
to
were getting a little too intense with the actual revelation of the secrets of the universe, and I apologize. I knew sometimes I do go off on a revelatory rant here and there that makes people a little bit nervous. So
Sorry,
I'm
not
glad.
sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm not sorry, man. Go ahead and knock my Skype out. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter to me. We're here all night long, like I said. So, I'm back here
Your
again.
name is Jimmy.
My name is Jimmy, exactly. So, where do you guys want to go now? Because seriously, at this point, I'm so far derailed, and I think in a few moments, the dude is going to come through from the UK and talk about precognition and precognitive dreaming. But
Okay.
have you guys had any experience yourselves with any of this precognitive dreaming? In other words, have you ever dreamt anything that actually happened, that you saw the future in either one of your lives? I mean, has that happened to you?
Yes.
Would you like to? You know what I was gonna do? Right when the moment when this all happened, I was about to share something, and I got sidetracked from it, and maybe the whole reason it happened was to keep me from sharing that.
Maybe.
So you know what I'll do is I'll share that now. So we were
Do it.
talking about the Merkaba, and so I was it was after I had gone through my chemotherapy, and I had stage 4 lymphoma, and I had gone through my chemotherapy treatments, and I was pretty toasted out at the other tail end of that. And I was sitting out on my back porch, and I was sitting there, and I was meditating. And I mean, I wasn't high, I wasn't drunk, I wasn't on drugs. I was just sitting there, had my eyes closed, and as my eyes were closed and I was sitting in the dark, I'm sitting there and I see this pin of light. I could see like a light, like we saw a single star up in the sky, kind of thing, just tiny little light. And I noticed it, and I was looking at it, and as I started to focus on it, it started to get bigger. It started to come closer, and long story short, it got closer and closer, and as it got closer, it stopped being a blur of a light and started to become a lit geometric shape, but I couldn't quite make it out. And as it got closer and closer, I started to notice it was the Merkaba. I started to know it was a tetrahedron, and I started to look at it, and then I noticed that it wasn't just one, that it was actually a whole bunch of them, but they were just, I could only see it as it was coming closer at me. And then as it was coming closer and closer, and I came to this realization that if I stared at it any longer, if I looked at it for 1 second longer, I was going to be dead. And I woke up. In that moment, I was on the floor. Half my clothes were taken off. I had taken my shirt off. I sweated. I was completely drenched in sweat, and I pissed myself.
Oh,
And I
man.
woke up on the floor.
I did that when I got my first tattoo. Don't feel bad.
I don't feel bad, but I mean, the thing is that it was an intense moment for me because I had a choice in that moment. Like I could have kept looking at it,
Yeah.
and then who knows what would happen. But I had a fear of letting go in that moment, and I wanted to hold on to being human. I didn't want to, because at that point I had gone through so much, trying to stay alive through the cancer stuff that that I wasn't at that moment I wasn't prepared to go.
Yeah.
But at other times, other people may be prepared to go in that moment, and they just go ahead and lean into it. You know what I mean?
So what do you think? Do you think it was bad? Do you think it was a trick or a trap?
No, but I don't necessarily think going to the light is necessarily the right thing. But this wasn't like that, though. This was like I don't even know how to explain it. It was more like it was like I was recognizing the very fabric of the universe. And I've always I've always had this internal feeling that people in general we exist up until the moment we have this golden realization, and when that happens, whatever age you are, you're see you later.
You're losing your ego there.
So, Mr. Rowe, did you finish that tasty morsel?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about this, man? Now, is there a fabric to the universe that exists geometrically, and is that the prison, this geometric shape that's created that we see, that we talk about from Saturn to the Earth, is the Saturnalian Brotherhood? Is this a prison cage? Go ahead.
There might be something with the geometric aspects of because Saturn and its what is that, an octagon or pentagon, or what is it have up on the top? Hexagon. That's it. Hexagon.
Yeah, hex.
And just the numerical, mathematical relationships in the, I don't know. I can't explain it because I don't know. But something in my core gut feeling is just kind of ringing to me that all of these things are interrelated. I continue to think that the reality that we're experiencing right now is a secondary reality. That is, it is not native of the prime creator. And so that the mathematical equations and the nature of this, even though they are pretty nice and they are pretty, divine, they're again secondary, which is I don't know. It's something that's just not right, in my opinion.
Well, I do have a comment on the whole geometry thing.
Yes, please do.
That's okay. So, I was watching this lecture that a student was like, I think a graduate student was giving on the levels of DMT intoxication and how they were like doing a diagnostic thing on how high you are on DMT, basically by the visuals you have and the experiences you have and the connections you make and how you feel. And they kept bringing up that you would see these fractal, you would see these geometric patterns, at one level, and you'd see them rotating. And, I think that I actually have experienced that. I've never done DMT, but I've experienced that just as I'm laying in bed. If I just close my eyes.
Mushroom tea.
Don't you produce the same chemicals naturally in the body though to achieve those goals?
They say that your brain does have DMT in it.
The pineal gland, produces DMT.
Yeah, and I've noticed that. Well, like I've mentioned this before publicly. I have narcolepsy, so my in between time between awake and asleep is much longer than most people's. So I have the, not every day, but I do have the ability to kind of harness that. And I sometimes I think it's, when I'm in a certain, mental state, things have been going on specifically in life that cause me whatever anxiety or whatever, and lack of sleep. I can just close my eyes. I can and see the fractal patterns, and it's what it is. It's like it's geometric shapes that are rotating, and it's sort of like a carousel, but each arm of a Ferris wheel.
Trains. I see trains.
So Martha in the YouTube chat is saying the brain floods with DMT when you die.
I don't know. How would I know that?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, like chemically testing someone's brain.
That's what happens. So the thing is, if that's true, see, the thing is we've gotten a lot of this ascension mathematics. We've been diverted into other formulas that aren't really necessarily good for raising the vibration. We've been stuck over or diverted someplace else than we should be naturally.
Yeah.
Do you agree? I mean, the thing is that
Do you think that changing DNA will have any harmful effect on going into the next life?
Well, it's interesting you should say that, because there was some idea of developing some sort of a drug that would eliminate the need for God.
Yeah.
And this was tied directly to these types of DNA manipulating serums that are out there. So it's interesting, because if in fact your DNA is some sort of a direct identifier, like an IP address specifically for the individual, and then they're broadcasting that signal through their spine, connected to the earth. We're putting that signal out. That's our direct connection up to the, to the ethos. And so, if you would take that away, that connection.
I've seen that. I've heard that from many different angles, different people's, with different opinions on things. And to me, it goes back to we're all one mind anyway. So I don't think it matters what someone does to you, to your DNA, and
maybe
how they shut you down.
Well, if
they're trying to override it. Maybe they're trying to.
That's what I mean.
Once your meat suit kicks, then you're just right back anyway.
Well, the thing is, man, there's an idea that your DNA, no matter where you're born, will create the form of life that needs to be born to exist in that environment.
Yeah.
So that your DNA, it doesn't matter where you're born, what planet, what universe, what time frame, it doesn't matter. You'll come out of that womb as the being that can exist in that environment.
Have you
And
ever heard
so
of
if there's something,
Barbara?
if there's something that, if there's some key to the DNA that is part of the key that allows the connection astrally to this God being, if that's in fact true, that this DNA is how God knows you, this is your identifier. Okay, so if you modify that and you take away part of that, and it's no longer your identifier, God doesn't know who you are anymore.
Right.
But do you think God is that incapable?
Isn't it
No.
interesting though that all of the sort of legends and stories of the technological folks in the past, it's always they're messing around with DNA. Supposedly even, the abominations that were created before the Great Flood were created because someone was messing with DNA. Was quote unquote Noah's Ark really housing animals, or were they housing DNA samples?
DNA, yeah.
Yeah, and the Bible actually, it's when it talks about him and his sons, his sons went and grabbed them some wives, and they were not pure in their generations.
And now we have, like, the modern times, the stories back like from the 70s, or actually from the 80s and 90s, of like the DNA experiments that supposedly the aliens were coming. They're doing the cattle mutilations and the horse thing because they wanted the DNA. And the Greys are looking at it. Why is it everybody along history, no matter if you're human or non-human, technologically or not, everybody's interested in DNA,
Well,
that
listen,
molecular building block.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to be having Leo Zagami coming on the show here. I've just been talking to him the last couple days, and I've had him on my show before. And, that stuff that just went on with the Skype, I mean, this kind of stuff's been going on this show since we've been doing it. And I can tell you, one of the times that I was doing the show with Leo Zagami, and, the big thing is everybody talks about is bloodlines. Bloodlines this, bloodlines that. And we were having a discussion that night about bloodlines, and then he started talking about DNA and saying that the real thing is the DNA has nothing to do with the bloodline. And then the minute he started talking about this stuff and breaking it off on my show, which he had not yet written about it, he was going to write about it at that point. We could hear both Rio, my co-host, and I, and Leo, it was my co-host Leo, and myself. We could hear as Leo was describing this stuff about the DNA. We could hear somebody just cracking their keyboards, right? It was somebody that was on our Skype call, but they didn't have their button muted, so we could hear them banging on their keyboards. Leo Zagami, he talks a mile a minute. He's Italian. There is
I've had him on before as well.
There's no way Leo's talking a mile a minute like that and typing real quick, and it wasn't Rio and it wasn't me. So let me just say, man, this DNA stuff is serious business, man, and there's a lot to it, and I don't know enough about it to really break it down or magnify it as much as it could be, Dr. Rowe. If you could shed any light on DNA as far as vibratory and
Yeah, it's real funny though that everybody is very, very interested, and there's been a lot of work done on how to manipulate DNA, how to hybridize it, how to create it synthetically. Now we're at this precipice, and of course, we're not getting the full story. We've got to piece it together, just exactly what's going on right now with this whole, fake illusion of horror that's encircling the earth and putting everybody into danger. So we've all got to be modified because, of course, the creation that created all of us wasn't good enough. We have to all have a shot to modify ourselves permanently. And it's also probably going to modify offspring. It's going to be permanent. I mean, this is I don't know if there's any going back from where we're going right now. There's literally probably going to be two sets of human beings. Those that are hybridized.
Don't they talk about that in movies a lot too?
And will one be toxic in some way to the other? there's some spooky stuff that the DoD and DARPA have been researching, and with being able to do man-in-the-middle attacks on the neuron scale, so that
Well, Jimmy, what about that Magneto thing? Did you tell him about that?
No, I didn't. I haven't brought that up about any with anybody. Go ahead and let people know, because I'm going to bring Dennis Barker on the Open Philosopher. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't have the link, but it was it was something that could turn like a gene on and off.
I'll go get the article here in a second, as soon as we bring in Dennis. So why don't we take?
I'll fetch it.
Cool. Why don't we take a couple minutes? You guys grab something to drink. I'm gonna play some Stone Rebel Space Indigo, and I'll bring on the Open Philosopher, and we'll talk about some precognition and get into it with him. And I want to stay on this conversation with the DNA, because I think I really think there is really a lot of validity to the fact of your vibration and how your personal vibration affects your DNA. And I would think that we've been sidetracked by going down this road where we think we need drugs to achieve these spiritual states. And I don't think that, I'm not down on the taking of drugs. I'm not saying don't take DMT. I'm not saying any of that. What I am saying, though, is I think that everything that the CIA did in the 60s to make people think that they needed drugs to achieve these results, I think that what really needs to happen is if you're studied enough to achieve these results without drugs, then you've achieved the illumination that you need. Illumination is not enlightenment, like we say.
Well, and they've turned a culture into instant gratification now, and people don't want to work on anything. They just want to go, they want a shortcut.
Do you want to shout out the chat real quick before we go get Dennis?
Alrighty.
Send to the Microcosm Aftermath.fm. We're here every night, Monday through Friday, 10:30, right after Clyde Lewis, the big man on campus, and we're here till 1 o'clock a.m. California time.
All right.
So you ready?
So we have Ace Hanlon, Big James, Braids, Chris from the UK, Clayton, DB12, Foxitos, Haterazzi, It's Real Now 2, JF Fredrickson, Jimmy Jean, Jose Marias, JTFU, Lexi, Mary Jane, Massacre Moody, Michael 13, Mike Montavon, Moose Girl, Mrs. Rand Mac, Pinky, Racer, Rich, Robofish, Senior Low, SR Low, I got it wrong. I'm sorry again. Sweeney, T-Bow, Tesseract, Unusual Weird Danny Girl, Water Bear, and Way Cole Snoopy.
Send the Microcosm. I'm going to go get the Open Philosopher. We're going to talk about precognitive abilities and precognitive dreaming. It's Aftermath FM. Mine's Jimmy. Send to the Microcosm. Late night style. Aftermath.fm. Stone Rebel Space Indigo. I'll drop it in the link in the chat. Dennis Barker, the Open Philosopher. Are you there? You gonna have to.
I'm here, Dewey.
There you go, buddy. How you doing, man? Good to have
I'm
you.
all right. Yeah, it's early here, but it's nice to.
Yeah, it's early, but you still there? Sound like
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, sound like you cut out. Yeah, so tell people a little bit about your background, because we want to get a little bit into precognitive dreaming and precognitive abilities. Do you want to give people a quick synopsis on your background so we can get into it? I'm not really hearing you very good, bruh.
It's dodgy Wi-Fi then.
There you go.
Let me see if I can move to a better spot now.
Yeah, you better move to a better spot. And in the meantime, 626-999-4761, 626-999-4761, 626-999-4761. Give us a call. We want to talk to you about dreams. We want to talk to you about the alternative universe. We want to talk to you about dimensions. Give us a shout, 626-999-4761. Did you get yourself squared away there, Open P? Because if not, it's cool. We can give you a call another time. We get this squared away. I don't want to do it on the air. So if your connection's not solid, I want to move on. So are you there? Yeah, it ain't gonna work. All right, sorry about that, man. I tried. There he goes. Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate it. Take care of yourself. So there goes Dennis. We'll try to get him back at another time. So I didn't have time to sound check him before the show. So let's get back into this now. The vibrational and the tonal. Does your DNA vibrate? Is it vibrating based on your personal spiritual makeup? I mean, are we all vibrating at our level? We have the potential to vibrate at any level through our DNA. So now, are we vibrating at the level that we're at as a human being as far as our spiritual evolution? What do you guys think about that?
Did I ever play for you? Did I ever show you the about programmable DNA, the video that Microsoft has?
No.
All right, let me copy this. It's only a couple minutes long.
All right.
And I'm going to put it because, ladies and gentlemen and non-binaries, I don't know about you, but I definitely would not want to have Microsoft replacing my DNA. Okay, I put it in our chat. So Jimmy, if you want, you can play this.
Yeah, I will.
I think everybody should actually hear it. This is right from the horse's mouth, programming DNA. And keep in mind that what you're about to hear is from 2016.
Well, what I'm going to do too, what I'm doing right now is I'm scrolling backwards to get this article that I posted earlier today. And hang on one second. Let me just click on this so I can come back to our call and get your thing. Stand by. And then, I was looking at this thing earlier today. And so, is this it, the Ezekiel's wheel?
No, it's the next one. That's what we were talking about when we dropped.
Sorry about that. Hang on a second. Let me drop that out of there. Hang on. All right. So, yeah, Danny, I got this article for you. Hang on one second.
It's the latest link.
Yeah.
Oh, the Magneto one.
Yeah.
I have that one.
Okay, good. I was just over there fishing it out. All right.
I put it down at the bottom if you wanted it too.
Okay, go ahead. You can go ahead and pick that up when this video is over 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Programming DNA. Here we go. In a minute, as soon as it wants to. The Ouroboros is eating.
Imagine a world where we can do computation inside living cells.
The problem that we're trying to solve is really trying to have a more sophisticated diagnosis that can happen automatically inside cells.
Imagine a biological computer that operates inside a living cell. So for example, it could be used to determine whether a cell is cancerous, and if so, then trigger the death of the cell.
So here we're talking about little molecular systems that you can, work that run in a test tube or maybe even in a live cell, so they're really small. The type of work that they're doing is essentially they're trying to sense, analyze and control molecular information.
In this project, we're trying to use DNA as a programmable material.
DNA is highly programmable, just like a computer, and we can program a whole range of complex behaviors using DNA molecules.
So we're taking advantage of a phenomenon called DNA strand displacement.
So DNA strand displacement is essentially a competitive hybridization reaction. So it's two strands of DNA that come together, and as they bind to one another, a third strand that was initially bound is kicked off. One issue with like any biology research or biomolecular research is that it's always sort of a cycle of trial and error. You test it, it doesn't work, so you go back to the drawing board and you do that over and over again. And it's a slow cycle because doing experiments just is hard and it takes a lot of time.
We've developed a language for programming molecular circuits made of DNA. So the programmer would write down a collection of DNA strands, and the software will work out how these DNA strands interact with each other and can be used to predict their behavior over time. And this kind of software could, for example, be used to detect and fix bugs in a molecular circuit design before that circuit is built. For decades, biologists had been using chemical reaction networks as a means of describing the behavior of biological systems. So what our technology enables for the first time is that any system described as a chemical reaction network can now be translated and implemented in biology at the molecular level.
One of the things that we've done recently, which I'm particularly excited about, is that we have created, designed, using our tool, and created experimentally is an implementation of the so-called approximate majority algorithm. At the moment, really the technology is very much in its infancy. It's still very much at the research stage. So most of what we're doing is in the test tube. An enormous goal will be to have what we're able to do in the test tube also working inside cells. That's a hugely enormous challenge.
So this could enable a whole range of biotechnology applications. For example, it could allow us to both detect and treat disease to a level of precision that has not been possible so far. It could also allow us to make new compounds far more efficiently. These compounds could be medicines or biomaterials, and ultimately it could allow us to make biological computers that operate at the molecular scale.
Here's David Lynch. Maybe. It might be David. I think I saw him there in the green room. Is that him? Yeah, that's him.
Have a golf ball size consciousness. When you read a book, you'll have a golf ball size understanding. When you look out, a golf ball size awareness. And when you wake up in the morning, a golf ball size wakefulness. But if you could expand that consciousness, then you read the book, more understanding. You look out, more awareness. And when you wake up, more wakefulness. It's consciousness. And there's an ocean of pure, vibrant consciousness inside each one of us. And it's right at the source and base of mind, right at the source of thought, and it's also at the source of all matter.
South to Mouth FM. 626-999-4761. 626-999-4761. 626-999-4761. Robin Trower, I'm out to get you. Six 626-999-4761.
the place in time. It's gonna be something new, and you better not hesitate. For the first time in your life, you can celebrate. Close your eyes.
Hey, if you want to join the call, keep yourself muted up until we go to you, caller. Call back.
Turn around and maybe then
626-999-4761. All right, I'm giving this caller a call back. So, we didn't hear what you said, caller. 702 calling in. Looks like Las Vegas, Nevada. Give us a call back. So, I didn't hear what he said. Did you guys hear what he said? No. No one's here. Yeah.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Please leave your message for 7023.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da. There you go. Goodbye. Hold on a second. Man, the gremlins are in this. The gremlins are on me, man.
Hey, was it you that said you saw something that said status sleeping? No, it was somebody else. I thought somebody like, never mind. I think it was somebody else. There was a status sleeping. That doesn't mean anything to you?
No.
Okay, never mind.
But we had a caller calling in, and they were talking while the song was on. I couldn't hear what they were saying, so I was waiting for them to realize they were talking over music and not talk.
I think they were saying to somebody they were going on the air. I think they were saying, "I'm going on the air." Hang on.
Yeah, I don't know. But then I was going to leave them a message, but then it was repeating the number back, and I, didn't want to go out over there. My name's Jimmy. It's Aftermath.fm. It's been a train wreck all night, but you know what? It doesn't matter because we're still here. We have not gone off the rails, have we, Mr. Rowe?
It is Monday.
It is Monday. I'm hanging by a thread, man, by the skin of my teeth.
Actually, it's not Monday anymore. It was started out Monday. It's no longer Monday where we are. It's Tuesday now.
Now it's fun day. It's Tuesday. It's Blur's. Yeah, it's Blur's day.
I know, Monday's out of there.
I just don't even, on a lot of levels, man, that, it's hard to even know what day it is. 626-999-4761. 626-999-4761. 702, give us a call back, man. We didn't hear what you said. So Danny's also having Skype issues all of a sudden, man. There's been a serious attack going on the Skype for all night long. And, I just had to, obviously change my password earlier. So I just find it interesting and fun, to try to overcome these difficulties. Is that you, Danny? Is that you there?
Yeah.
I hear you. Excellent. Okay, so you came back. Did you have to re-enter your password? Did your Skype?
Welcome back.
No. But it did the same thing right before we started the show.
Yeah.
Where I could hear you, but my mic wouldn't pick up my mic.
Interesting. Well, there you go. Just a myriad of problems, but we've got the largest audience we've ever had over on YouTube right now. We got wow. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And then we also have a bunch of people over at Aftermath.fm. Maybe what I'll do is I'll come over here to the chat room. Well,
How long is the show on Aftermath?
We got about 30 more minutes left, and I know Dr. Rowe has to book as soon as we're done. So I don't know as far as there's going to be much of an after party tonight, but we'll see what will happen. But in the meantime, 626-999-4761, 626-999-4761, give us a call. So yeah, where were we? The vibratory programmable DNA that Microsoft is working on, Mr. Rowe.
Yeah. Not only that, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binaries, is we have people like Microsoft that are working on molecular computer systems that they can put inside of you, but you also have people in the black world, in the dark projects. These folks are trying to facilitate artificial ways to enter into the dream space. You've all seen the movies about people that put the little helmets on and then they share the dream space and that the movies come from someplace. They get their ideas a lot of times from reality.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's not only are folks in the black world trying to utilize like black magic and the ancient rites, the old ways, these kinds of things, but also they're trying to utilize technology, and they will stop at nothing. Think about it. If they're telling you right now that they're trying to strand DNA, literally the guy said they're trying to kick off one of the strands of whose DNA? Whose? Your DNA. That's whose. And then what are they going to do? They're going to put Microsoft code, Microsoft software, literally in you. They're going to fuse you. You're going to be like part of Windows kind of thing. You're going to blue screen one day. You're just going to crash. You're going to go ding ding. This is how ridiculous. But they're telling you that's what they're doing. They will stop at nothing. They will try anything, no matter how crazy, how insane. These are the kinds of people. They try to enter into the realm of death and into the astral realm. Literally, they avatar their way through. They can sit there and put something on and then enter into your head. They can visit you after you die. They're very advanced. Go ahead.
If you want to live, come with me. My name's Jimmy. It's into the microcosm. 626-999-4761. 626-999-4761. I gotta do it, man.
Baby, be my fire. Baby, be my flame. Baby, be the softly burning embers through December into June. Call your name. Baby, be my conjurer. And I hold you dear. Baby, be the visions in the night and wait till morning light for you to disappear. Baby, be my fire. Baby, be my fire.
626-999-4761.
To all your friends, I heard you telling them that you need a man who you can depend. Will I be the gasoline to keep you alive? And I be the glue so unbreakable, we burn together straight through the night. And that's alright, baby, be my fire. Baby, be my fire. Baby, be my fire.
There we go. There we go, caller. 509. Hang on. Hang on, 509. There we go. 509, where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm calling from Spokane, but it's really New Jersey, New York. I am your goddess, God creator, the mind of everything, and I'm tired of being trapped in this illusionary technological shit. And I want to prove and be who I am.
Well, do you have any inkling as to maybe some sort of a key to unlock the situation for yourself or for others? I mean, is there some sort of piece of information you want to, relay to us that, we might be able to use to help ourselves unlock these cages?
The key is my awaking reality that I am not in this dream world that I was put in by the controllers. The key is, as your goddess, God, creator, who is a mommy and has a child who is the moon child, deserving rightful heir, I am awake in every sense. That's the key. I need somehow for you to prove it through my words that I am awake and not in this headspace. I'm in a real body as a leader of liberty, happiness, and joy.
Well, I feel that your message is here not to awaken the sheep, but to stir the lions. And I feel like the avatar that you've trapped yourself in is not your true self, and that you exist outside of the matrix, and that you need to find your grounding point and to start to resonate at your true vibration.
This is true, and the problem is this globaler fake lie is Satan's world. The biblical earth is flat, and that's where we really are. And my level is to sea level up, get my level connected to the Arizona, the Kansas, the true flat biblical earth where we really live.
Well, it's important to get a handle on yourself, because realistically, the only thing that we can really know is ourselves. And the only place that we can start to change the world and to change the situation that we're in is with ourselves. So the most important thing is that you could be the most powerful person that you can be in your life. And the way to do that, and it sounds to me like what you're searching for is what everyone's searching for, and that is illumination, for someone to shine a light in the dark corner. But a lot of times what happens is we get confused about illumination and enlightenment. Enlightenment is not the same as illumination. Enlightenment is relieving yourself of your earthly burdens and your bonding to the material aspect of, the plane that we're on. Whatever the shape it is, it doesn't make any difference. We're on a plane of it to solve some of these problems. But why don't you expand on that a little bit, please?
Well, yeah, I mean, look at how everything is presented to us in this patriarchal way. And, I mean, there is this matriarchy in a sense that is presented to us through a lizard being called the queen, not my queen. But, no, I mean, we're told, father and son, well, where's your mother when you go to church? Where's your mom? How can you have a dad and not have a mom? And that's what the the dove, the white dove, is representing, the Holy Spirit. That's your mama. That's your, but we're not taught that. We're not taught that there is both parts of that. And so we're existing in this half, just a half constantly.
Dr. Rowe?
Go ahead.
Dr. Rowe, did you want to jump in on the divine feminine? Because I know you're a staunch supporter of the divine feminine. And
and I'm sorry to interrupt, but please, Dr. Rowe, wake up my spirit. That's all that has to happen.
Dr. Rowe, are you there? I think he's muted up.
I think he choked on his pistachio pudding.
He did? Well, listen, the awakening of the spirit is something that we're all looking for. I think we're all searching. I mean, I know I've spent my life searching, religiously. for some sort of a devotion, some sort of a way to connect to the divine. And
What's your name, Mama?
My name is Jennifer.
All right, Jennifer. Well, I think you're gonna be, feeling some good on this. The way the stars are lining up, we have this lunar eclipse happening, and people are really starting to notice a lot of stuff. And so, not just around that eclipse, but that's, new beginning coming. And I think people are waking up to the fact that our mother has been taken away, and I think we all want to have it back. So.
Well, I want to come back and be her, but the problem is I need to be on this side of the mirror, not on the side I'm looking at. And it's the ego self. I don't know whether to jump off a bridge and hope there's a magical parachute to catch me and pull me into my real mama.
Nah. You know what?
Goddess, creator body, or how to get rid of this ego trap that my evil ding-dong mother took over.
Well, the one thing you know for sure is this. You're here. You're alive now. You can pinch your leg. Everything else is somebody's story or opinion. Realistically, when the moment of truth arrives, you don't know what's going to happen. And that's the big mystery that everyone's seeking. What's going to happen when I die? Where am I going to go? What's going to happen? I'm just going to kill myself and see what happens. Nah, I had cancer, a stage 4 lymphoma, and I didn't want to die, man. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to die. And
Yes.
And the thing is, I had the perfect, easy way out, man. You know what I mean? I could have left right then, and it would have been no skin off my back. I could have just died out, and that's the end. But the thing is I came to this realization when you stare into the abyss, man, you become the abyss. I became the abyss, and I decided that realistically, it's all theory and bullshit. All of it. Until the moment of truth arrives for you, that's when you're going to find out what really happened. And for all we know, realistically, this could be just as real as anything else. This is all there is. Your life here is all there is. It's all there's ever going to be. And if you don't take advantage of it and live your life to the fullest every minute that you got on this planet, when you can live your life, you may just get to the end and find out, man, you were wrong and you lost. You lost the game because you had your chance and you blew it because you thought it was going to happen someday down the road. It was going to be a heaven. Someday down the road, you're going to be in some certain situation that's going to make everything okay. My life's never, you know what, listen, every time I've set a plan for myself and said, hey, I'm going to move on this plan when the situation is just right or just okay, you know what happens? I never do shit. Because the situation never presents itself to be perfect for me to do it. So you just got to put one foot in front of the other. And if you want to have a spiritual attainment or you have a goal for some enlightenment and then some illumination, there's so many things you can do for yourself right at your own home. You don't even need a spiritual teacher, but maybe there's someone around your house. Maybe there's a pastor or somebody that you got a connection with that you can, go and ground yourself and cleanse your energy level and try to get yourself back to a space where you can make a cognitive decision about what you're looking at. Because, it gets confusing. Go ahead, Danny.
And if you're waiting for something to change, then that's all you're going to get is waiting.
Yeah.
I know I have to be the change, but honestly,
But don't be other people's change. Be what you want to change.
Absolutely. I was trying to be my damn patriarchal God's change, and he threw me under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I'm in some dream. I have already died. In fact, I think I've died twice. I think I died on a beach in Hawaii and never did fly back here to the mainland, and then I think I died again in '86 in some car accident. So I
that's-
think right now I'm living inside some dream of mine.
That's
that
interesting.
where I'm a spirit, really.
You know what's interesting about that is after I went through my cancer treatment, so I went through 16 weeks of chemotherapy, and then I went through 5.5 weeks of radiation every single day. And when I got to the end of that, my energies was clear and all this stuff, and I was sitting there and I was someplace, and I all of a sudden came to this realization. I was like, because things were going so well for me and stuff, everything was just perfect, and I was just like, man, I wonder if I'm dead. I literally wondered if I was dead, and since then, I've thought about it again and again, and I've thought, are all these people that I know, like all the other radio hosts that I know, and everybody else that we're talking, everybody here in this broadcast, we're all dead, and we just don't know it. And the thing is we're in some like purgatory situation where, we're in this scene where, we don't realize it. I mean, it's possible. There's anything's possible at this point. No one knows for sure. That's the thing.
I know. I agree totally. It's all a movie, and they're trying to edit me out, and I can't fight them. That's why all this electronic stuff happens.
Yeah. Well, are you having some issues with being a targeted individual?
Yes, I am. Everywhere I go, they're there with their devices, taking pictures and sitting in their cars. I'm definitely somehow I don't know how to say it. Somehow the government's got a hold of me.
Well, I mean, is there some specific reason, or do you just feel like all of a sudden this just started happening to you? It's all of a sudden one day you started to notice people, gang stalking you and being around and, looking at you at the store, and a bunch of different people wearing sunglasses and looking at you, this type of thing?
A lot of TIs don't have a reason. They can't find one.
So we've been joined by a new caller, 210. Who are you and where you call from?
It's Eric from San Antonio.
Hey, Eric, what's happening, man? So we're here.
Man.
We're talking to Jennifer, and she's having some issues with. It seems like she's got a few things going on here, and she's looking for maybe a few kind words. Were you listening to the conversation?
Yeah.
Did you have anything you might wanted to add, or something you wanted to let Jennifer know, or did you want to bring something else up into the conversation?
I could do both.
Okay, we'll do both.
I need you to speak through me because you're all part of the cells in my body. I'm not trying to sound narcissistic, but
No, we don't think so. We don't think you are. Go ahead, Eric. Why don't you go ahead and let us hear what you have to say.
As far as that goes, I'd say find the beauty and stuff, because even if we are wrong or we are gone or whatever, if you find beauty, man, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong at all.
That's right. I mean, even if it's something simple like, looking at a flower. Yeah. I used to go out in the woods out behind, where I live, as redwood forests and stuff, and there's like really special flowers that grow here. I mean, they don't grow anywhere else. They're just weird flowers, and when I first moved there, I'd like pick them and take them home, and they die right away. So what I realized, man, and it's an important lesson for me, just spiritually too, is that I don't need to possess the flower at my house. I don't need to cut the flower and take it away and stick it in some water and put it at my house so I can enjoy it at my house. The thing is that what I can do is I can walk my ass out there and go look at the flower growing in its natural environment. Okay.
Enjoy it that way.
Exactly. Yeah. And the flower gets to live. Everybody gets to live. But the thing is human beings want to possess shit. Okay? Yep. They cannot allow it to live and exist on its own and love it for what it is, where it is, and how it is. And that's a big problem, with our society. So the thing is coming together like we are on this call and trying to help out Jennifer. Maybe have some kind words. And so, did you have something else you wanted to bring up, Eric, regarding the conversation we were having about energy and DNA and dreams and this type of thing?
Well, who was the guy that was on?
Doctor, that was Dr. Rowe. He
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Yeah, he went into a real specific dream, and I was like, that's pretty crazy. And then you brought up stage 4 cancer treatment and all that.
Yeah.
And I too, I went through the same thing. I have stage 4 melanoma, metastatic. Man, confusing words. Anyway,
It's harsh. I mean,
pretty, it's all good. But the dreams I had after.
Did you go through chemotherapy?
Actually, I did not. I opted out.
Okay, because see, I went through it, and when they were giving it to me, one of the things that in it was called mustard. Okay, and so the lady said, oh yeah, this stuff here, because you go to this place and you got to lay down. It's like a lethal injection. You lay on this couch, and they come up with this shit, and they're gonna put it in you. And she's got to tell you what it is, and you got to sign a paper because they're actually killing you, literally.
Yeah.
Right. So I noticed because I had to sign it. I was looking at it. One of the things on there was mustard, and she says, "Oh yeah, this stuff here, it'll burn you if it gets on your skin." And I said, "Well," she goes, "but it won't hurt you when it goes in. But if you get it on your outside, it'll burn your skin." And I thought to myself when she told me that, sounds like mustard gas. And then later on, I found out that is actually one of the ingredients in chemotherapy is mustard,
I know
mustard gas.
When you do MRIs and CT scans, they inject you with that warming fluid that it'll burn your balls. It's like, what is this? But yeah.
Radioactive.
Okay.
Radioactive sugar waters.
Barium. Yeah, I've had MRIs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you that when I was going through that chemo, it burned all the plaque out of my veins. You know what I'm saying? So because when it burned all that plaque out of my veins, my blood was flowing really good. Like I was getting super blood flow to my brain. I had like a super brain. I couldn't even believe. I mean, I used to sit there and just, I couldn't believe just everything was working really well. So that was one of the benefits. But I mean, it did change my DNA, and I knew the next day, from the night before I took it, and the very first time I was going to take it, I was really scared, man, because I knew I was sticking my arm out for a lethal injection, and I was going to have to do it 16 times. And I knew I wasn't going to be the same the next day, and so.
You know what I wanted to bring up what was crazy is that during that period in time, I had dreams of like being like in a basement of the hospital where like I guess the morgue and shit would be.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a trip, man. I don't want to go there again. I hate even remembering that I remembered that dream.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it happened to somebody else, man. You know what I mean? I went through it. I don't sit here. I don't think about it. I don't dwell on it. And I definitely don't think anything about the actual sickness at all, because I don't want the universe to think that's what I want. Because the universe doesn't decide what's good or bad. It's going to give you, your conversation, the silent conversation in your mind is a conversation with the universe, like telling the universe that's what you want. The universe doesn't know one good or bad. It's like praying to quit smoking. You may have to lose a lung to finally want to quit smoking. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you don't know how that's going to result. So when I was going through my shit and I was going through my thing, I realized that there was only one thing I was going to do. I wasn't going to pray to stay alive. I wasn't going to pray for anything. All I was going to do was say thank you. And when, and there was times when I said thank you for hours on end. And going through some of the worst shit you can possibly imagine. And I made it through the other side of that. And I'll tell you this other thing here before we go. We're almost out of time. Is that when I came home after my diagnosis, I sat there and I thought to myself, hey man, listen, a lot of people get these diagnoses. The first thing they do is get religious. The second thing they do is start praying to God to live. And so the statistics would bear out everybody who prays to live. Nobody, that doesn't work every time. So that's they're obviously praying to live isn't the thing. So I decided I wasn't going to pray to live. I wasn't going to ask God for anything. I was going to let things be the way they were. I was going to be grateful for how they are. And even though it was fucked, okay, I knew it could be worse. I knew it could get worse any minute, and even no matter how bad it was, I still said thank you, even though I was gritting my teeth, saying it. I meant it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, quick comment in regards to that is that I had a bunch of Indian, not Native Americans, but like from India. They were my nurses, and they have a completely different belief system.
Yeah.
And like, you will just transcend, and you'll be okay, and all this stuff. I'm like, this is that was a trip. I was like, whoa. it made me feel better. I was like, okay, like there's other, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to explain, man.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a lot of Indian nurses and stuff, and nurses' aides, this type of thing, when I was going through my treatment stuff too. So hey, man, I made it through it, and like I said, I don't dwell on it. I don't think about it. I just kept going, man. I got my last doctor's appointment, and I said, "See you later." I've never gone back.
Yep.
I ain't going back.
Rock on.
And
so yeah, say, man, rock on.
Yeah, bro.
Keep it going.
Hey, thanks for giving us a call, man. Jennifer.
Yeah.
I hope you were able to get some good, solid something at least. Maybe just a little conversation. You're welcome to give us a call back. Tomorrow night's gonna be. Tomorrow night's gonna.
Thank you.
Yeah, ladies.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Ladies' night tomorrow night. So it's gonna be Danny, Brandy, and a good friend of mine, Nano Girl's gonna be coming, and so give us a call back tomorrow night because there'll be a bunch of people here, and we can give you a shout out. So.
Okay, and Jimmy, I just want to tell you how much I admire you and your beautiful way of walking through your dark night of the soul, not fighting but accepting and being grateful. Your story has really inspired me to not fight whatever is happening. You are just beautiful. I wish you could be our true God. Maybe you are in some peace.
Well, we love you so much. Thanks for calling, and like I say, give us a call back.
You.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and Eric too. Eric too is a beautiful man. You both are, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah.
Okay, Dana. Bye.
All right, we don't have time, ladies and gentlemen. We gotta go. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, ladies' night.
This storm is coming like a ghost town. All the clubs are being closed down. This place is coming like a ghost town. Bands won't play no more. Too much fighting on the dance floor.
Okay. We're out of there. Okay. There we go. So we are done. So let's Danny, can you talk for a second right after we're done? Because I'm gonna hang up here on the show. We gotta go, you guys. I did 2 shows today. I gotta go right now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, hey, man, thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night. It's going to be a good one. Nano Girl will be here, and Brandy and Danny and myself.
Hey.
You want to say goodbye to everybody in the Chotskis over here before we head out, or no? I'm just so tired, man.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Let's see. I've only been in there for a minute, so I don't know how far I can go up. But we have Lewis, James, Brent, Dan, Martha, Glory, yeah, Brian, Ginger,
Hey, Ginger.
Alex. Ginger can do this purr sound that is non-human. So, like, when a bunch of us are together, we try to make the same sound, and we can't do it. Only Ginger can do it. It's ridiculous.
I don't know what happened to Mr. Rowe. He just faded off. He just went zzz, out into
Well, he was having trouble with his Skype too.
He was. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got. Yeah.
Oh, Mountain Devil, Eric. Sorry if I'm missing anybody. Whenever I click the participants list,
It's
it's
all
like,
right. We did the best we could.
Yeah.
It was technical issues the whole time, man.
It was terrible.
It was awful.
And I even tried to like show up early to talk with you guys, and I couldn't hear anything, and then you couldn't hear me.
No, it was awful.
What is that?
Yeah. All right, let's get out of here. We gotta go, you guys. I gotta go right now. It's a must. Okay, here we go. Ready? Get ready to jump through the porthole.
Okay, I'm gonna go into see a llama.
Okay, and then when you come back, just message me and I'll call you then. And we'll get out
All
of
right.
here. All right. Thanks. All right, everybody. That's it.
Night, everybody.
Good night.